You know the old chestnut, pigs can't fly? It's a classic, absolute classic old piece of wisdom. That saying came up in conversation for me kind of recently. And it made me ponder and reflect on a time in my life when pigs did actually fly. Yeah, that's true. Headline, pigs fly in this story. So stick around for the flying swine. And a little warning, this story does involve the passing away of a small and cute animal. So if you're not built for that, roll on to something else. So I was hanging out with my friend Darcy. He's been a friend of mine for a while. Me and Darcy we live in like a country town, and we decided to go to the city for a weekend. Darcy, one thing about Darcy, he does a lot of things. One thing he does is he plays the cello, like the really big instrument with the strings, and they go, it's like a massive violin. Darcy plays the cello, and he needed to go to the city for I think it was a cello concert of some sort. I think he was playing in it, part of an orchestra. Not much of a cello man, respectfully, but I was going to the city because I have a bit of a side hustle where I sell guinea pigs. So I have like a little pen out the back, breed them up, put them on Facebook Marketplace, sell them for $20 a pop, just get a bit of little dough on the side. So we both ended up needing to go to the city for this same weekend. Darcy needed to go and play cello, and I had lined up on Facebook Marketplace like 5 or 6 different guinea pig sales. So I was going to be ducking around the city selling guinea pigs. So we caught the bus to into the city from the small town that we live in. And then from there, Darcy needed to go straight to his cello concert. So from the bus stop, we needed to catch an Uber to get, and we didn't have that much time. We didn't really have any time to spare. We needed this Uber to take us straight to the concert. So we booked an Uber, and no problems. Uber came. We met our Uber driver, who was a man of a culture, and the culture is not Australian. But I will not disclose what that culture was, for no reason. No reason. He was a non-Australian ethnic man. I can say ethnic. And I'm not going to disclose the ethnicity of this Uber driver. So we piled in. We were in a bit of a rush. I had a cardboard box with a bit of newspaper on the bottom, and had 5-6 guinea pigs in there. And then Darcy, he had his massive big cello, which is in a big black case. And so we both hopped into the back of the Uber. And Darcy's cello couldn't really fit in the back seat. But it could if you winded his window down and he poked the neck and the head, the top bit of the cello was kind of poking out the window as we drove. And so it was fine with us that the end of the cello was poking out the window. We were just in a hurry. We just needed to get going. But the Uber driver turned around and saw this arrangement and was like, no, we can't have that cello poking out the window because they're expensive. And if that was to get damaged, you guys are probably going to sue me for the damage of your cello. And we were like, mate, we're in a big hurry. We're not going to sue you. We'll be liable. Can we just go? We just need to get to this concert. And after kind of heated, long chat, I chimed in. I've got something to offer. I said, here, mate, I'll give you a guinea pig if you just let us have this cello out the window. And he looks at it and goes, all right, deal. I'll take a guinea pig. So I've just given him a guinea pig, and he's just put it in his lunchbox, which was sitting on the passenger seat. And he's given it a little sandwich or whatever. And he's got his guinea pig sitting there, and he lets us continue on with the cello half poking out the window. Darcy's got his window open with a cello poking out. We've got a slightly grumpy, I think. He wasn't too happy with us, this Uber driver in the front. And then my window, I'm sitting there with a box of 6 guinea pigs. And they'd just been on this long bus trip, and now they're sitting in this Uber. I was worried that they're going to get a little hot. So I kind of like opened the top of the box a little bit and cracked the window down to try and get some fresh air onto them, just because I didn't want them to be too uncomfortable. So all was going well. We were rattling along nicely, going to make good time to get to this concert. And this Uber driver, as he's driving, there's an oncoming truck, and look, I don't know if he did it on purpose or not. It's still up in the air whether or not this was intentional. But he drove very close to the center of the road, and Darcy's cello poking out the window nearly had the end of it snapped off by an oncoming truck. Like, this guy went right on his side of the lane and nearly hit the end of the cello on a truck. And Darcy was like, whoa. I looked at Darcy and was like, that was so close. Darcy was like, mate, what was that? Can we not do that, please? That was a little too close. Pretty respectfully, I thought. Darcy was like, dude, that was close. You didn't need to be that close. And the guy was like, he turned around and he was like, well, mate, you're the one who wants to have the cello out the window. It's not my problem if it gets snapped. I'm just going to drive. And so Darcy and the Uber driver were kind of having a bit of a discussion, and the Uber driver was doing a lot more looking back at Darcy than he was concentrating on driving, which wasn't the greatest thing, because I'm sitting there with my box of guinea pigs looking ahead, and I've noticed there's a fairly hard right-hand turn coming up in the road. And I'm sitting there while they're talking. I'm like, oh, he's going to notice the turn. He's going to notice the turn. And he just keeps looking back, talking to Darcy. And he never noticed. And I'm like, mate, right-hand turn up ahead. He's going way too quick. I think it was like an 80 zone. And there was a sign that said, like, a yellow sign that said 40, recommended speed 40. So he's coming in almost double the speed of this corner. And he just has to rip it. He just full sends it to the right. And I don't know, luckily the car didn't lose traction, but we all got flung to the left-hand side of the car as we went around this corner. And now this is where it doesn't go too well. I'm sitting there with my box of guinea pigs, and as I get flung, the 6 little fellas flew out the window because I was just trying to cool them off and give them some fresh air. Next thing I know, we got a couple of flying guinea pigs hurtling through the air. And so this, if you can just imagine this moment, we're going a hard right, cello poked out one window, 6 guinea pigs fly out one, and this corner happened to be right on it was like near a beach, so it was a hard right, and then it was like a 5 or 6 foot drop onto a sandy beach. And so 6 of these guinea pigs flew out the window. Unfortunately, and this is where tragedy struck, one of them hit a sign pole. One of those guinea pigs hit a sign pole and perished. The guinea pig did not survive the impact with the sign pole. Moment of silence for that guinea pig. And the rest of the guinea pigs flew. This is flying pigs. Now, I don't know if I like to think that they flapped their arms and legs, try and get a bit of flight in. It was probably a lot more falling than flying going on. They fell, and it was just soft, dry sand. So they just fell onto the sand. And I didn't know this prior, but it turns out that the terminal velocity of a guinea pig is actually non-fatal, which was super clutch. Like, 5 out of 6 of these guinea pigs have survived. One tangled with a pole and came off second best, but the other 6 were all fine. They were just on the sand. So we'd made around the corner, and I'm like, whoa, all my guinea pigs got out the window, mate. And the Uber driver pulled over. Luckily, he was nice enough to pull over for us. We all went out, gathered up the guinea pigs, found them all, put them back in the box, and luckily we made it to the cello concert on time. But this cultural Uber driver, you would have thought the right thing to do, since one of my young soldiers perished during the journey, you would have thought he would have given the one that I gave back as compensation. But look, I guess he was hungry. Who knows if he was planning on cooking it up and eating it? I can't speculate. but he was not willing to give the final guinea pig back. So other than that, that was a little bit of a downer, but other than that, a happy ending to the story.